Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling AI in education, but not just the cool tech. We're talking actual policies coming out of the U.S. Department of Education.
Yeah, think of it like we're giving you the cheat sheet straight from their big report.
Exactly. We dug through the artificial intelligence and the future of teaching and learning, report all the congressional mandates, expert opinions, the work so you don't have to.
We're all about making this digestible, right?
Yeah.
Especially for our listeners who want the full story without all the jargon.
100%. Now, one thing that kept popping up for me, honestly had me picturing like robot teachers, was this phrase, humans in the loop, less Terminator, more practical. I'm guessing what's the deal there?
Okay, so imagine this. Electric bike versus a robot vacuum, right? Bike helps you out, but you're still steering, right? Vacuum's off doing its own thing. The report's really stressing that AI needs to be that electric bike for teachers.
So not replacing teachers, but giving them AI tools they can control. Got it.
Exactly, like say a student's using an AI learning platform. The teacher, they should always be able to see why the AI is recommending certain lessons and step in if they need to.
That makes sense. Keeps the teacher in charge, which is huge.
Huge. And it even talks about how this setup could actually make teaching more rewarding, not less. Less time grading, more time actually connecting with students.
Now that's the dream, right? Teachers are already stretched so thin. But here's a phrase we hear everywhere, personalized learning. What's different about how the report talks about it?
It's going beyond just, okay, they got that math problem wrong, adjust. It's like recognizing their strengths, background, even their learning style. Imagine AI helping teachers make materials more culturally relevant.
Whoa, now that's next level. Tailoring the experience to each student, not trying to force everyone into the same box.
They actually talk about Universal Design for Learning, UDL, as a framework for this.
Okay, but is that even doable with where AI is at now? Be honest.
Million-dollar question, right? And the report admits, yeah, current AI can miss the nuances of real classrooms. It's like trying to get a symphony just by looking at the sheet music.
Missing the emotion, the interpretation.
Exactly. But good news, they are calling for more research to make AI more context-aware, and that's where this long-tail idea comes in, which is...
Okay, long tail, that one threw me a bit. Break it down.
Think about it, most ed tech. It's made for that average student. But what about students with disabilities, English language learners, students from backgrounds that are underrepresented in tech?
The students who don't always fit the mold.
Exactly, the long tail. The report really hits on using AI to close opportunity gaps, not make them wider, and focusing research and development on those often overlooked learners.
So important because if the data going into these AI systems isn't representative.
You're not going to get good results.
Yeah.
And speaking of data, the report's emphasis on transparency really hit home for me. It's not enough for AI to just work. We got to know WHY and HOW, right?
100%. Educators, parents, even students, they deserve to know what data is being collected, how it's used, what the technology's limits are.
They even talk about explainable AI, which I think is fascinating.
Okay, explainable AI. So instead of just giving a grade, it's like, here's why I think the student needs extra help here, and here are some resources based on how they learn best. Almost like an AI report card for teachers.
Yes, that's it. Making it less of a black box and more of a collaborative tool.
Which brings up the question everyone's thinking, are robots coming for teachers' jobs? Because, come on, that's the fear, right?
It's the Hollywood version, yeah. And the report actually shuts that down right away. It's really pushing that AI should be a partner to teachers, not a replacement.
Which makes sense when you think about it. Teaching, it's not just about, spitting out facts. It's mentoring. It's sparking curiosity, getting each student excited to learn. No robots doing that anytime soon.
Exactly. But we can't just ignore those fears either, right? Like, if people don't trust the tech, they're not going to use it well. It's got to be about collaboration, not, replacement anxiety.
So how do we build that trust? Because it sounds like the report actually has some concrete ideas there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the biggies. Bringing teachers in from the beginning. Designing the AI, testing it in real classrooms, making sure it actually works in the real world.
Because nobody knows better than the people who are actually going to be using it every day.
100%.
Right.
Teachers can tell you what works, what doesn't, how to make this AI a real partner in the classroom. That kind of collaboration, that's key for trust. But it can't just stop there. They also talk about needing clear ground rules for AI in education.
Okay, so like guardrails. Making sure the stuff is used ethically, responsibly, it doesn't go off the rails.
You got it. We got to be thinking about student privacy, well-being, all those ethical pieces. And those rules, they need to be made collaboratively too. Teachers, policymakers, researchers, even students.
That's a good point. This isn't just a conversation for, like, the tech people. It's about the future of learning, and that impacts everybody. So how do we make sure this tech benefits all students, not just a select few?
That is the question,
Right.
right? And one thing they highlight is this intentional design. Basically, making conscious choices about how AI is used, making sure it's lined up with our goals for education. We can't just throw tech at the problem and hope for the best.
It's going to be thoughtful, right? Like, okay, we want to personalize learning, but what does that actually mean? And how do we know it's actually helping students in a real way?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It takes understanding the tech and the learning process, right? You got to bridge that gap between the engineers building the tools and the educators actually using them.
So it's not enough to just have these fancy algorithms. We have to figure out how to actually use them in a classroom to support good teaching.
Right. And recognize that this is ongoing. Tech's always changing, so our understanding of how to use it well has to change too.
So it's not like we just set it and forget it. We have to stay informed, engaged, asking those tough questions like, what are we even trying to do here? Who benefits? And how do we make sure this tech truly helps all students learn?
And that brings us back to something you said earlier about transparency. If we want people to trust this tech, we have to be open about how it works, what data it's using, what it can and can't do.
Yeah, transparency builds trust, which then lets us actually USC this stuff well. And let's be real, this isn't just about data and algorithms. It's about people, right? Teachers, students, families. How can we use tech to actually strengthen those connections? Because that's at the heart of learning.
Absolutely. Technology should never overshadow the human element of education. That's what it all comes down to.
Well said. This report's given me a lot to think about. So for our listeners, who are just as interested in this as we are, what are the big takeaways? What's the call to action here?
It's simple. Get involved. Don't just sit back and let other people decide what AI in education looks like. Talk to your school board, talk to your kids' teachers. Stay in the loop about how AI is being used in your schools.
Make your voice heard. This is the future of education. It affects all of us. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Demand that transparency. This isn't just about the tech. It's about making sure it's used in a way that helps every student.
And remember, this report, it's a starting point. Things are changing so fast with AI in education. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged.
Really makes you think, huh? Like, it's not just about the tech itself. It's about what we value in education, right? What kind of system are we even aiming for? And can AI help us get there?
Those are the questions, yeah. And I think this report actually, it lays out a pretty good roadmap. It's not about pretending the challenges aren't there. It's about tackling them head on. Collaboration, transparency, equity, that's the focus.
Yeah, using this technology to open up opportunities for everyone, not just a few. That's what really stuck with me.
Me too, 100%. It reminds you we have a chance here to really shape what education looks like going forward. And it's not just on the policymakers or the tech people, it's on all of us.
So, listeners, we want to know, have you seen AI showing up in your kids' classrooms? What are you excited about? What makes you nervous? Head over to our website. Let's discuss.
We're all figuring this out together.
Okay.
All right, the more we talk about it, share what we're seeing, the better prepared we'll be for this whole AI in education thing.
Couldn't agree more. This deep dive, it's been honestly eye-opening. I feel like I have a way better sense of what AI could mean for education, good and bad.
It's changing so fast, but yeah, this report gives us some solid ground to stand on while we figure it out.
Given me a lot to think about, that's for sure. And I hope it's done the same for you listening out there.
You know, if I can leave everyone with one thought, it's stay curious, stay informed, and don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. That's how we build the future of education we actually want.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this AI policy deep dive. It's been a great conversation.
My pleasure. Always enjoy digging into this stuff with you.
And to our amazing listeners, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.